story has even crazier stuff happening. I can't wait to share it with you. I'll see you in a few minutes. Make sure you bring a blanket and a snack. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Hey Cubbies, I have a scripture verse for the week of January 10th. It comes out of the book of Matthew, so we're going to make an M. Matthew 22, all right, 22, 39. Put up almost all your fingers, but leave one down. So Matthew 22, 39. And it says, love, so give yourself a hug, love your neighbor. So you're going to point like you're pointing to someone next to you. Love your neighbor as yourself. And you're going to point at you. Let's do it all together. It's a really short and easy one this week. Matthew 22, 39. Love your neighbor as yourself. Great job, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye. Hey guys, for today's story, I need you to run real fast and get two things. I need you to get a nice soft blanket to sit on. It might be one that you sleep with, or maybe you carry it around with you, or it may be something that just hangs out on your couch. But I need you to go get a soft blanket. And I need you to get a favorite snack. So on the count of 3, run and go. If you need to pause and have a little more time, you can do that. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, are you all comfy? Do you have your snack and your blanket? I want you to imagine that you were an Israelite living way back in Egypt. Remember, the Israelites had a mean king that came into power. We call him Pharaoh. Pharaoh had turned them all into slaves. Wouldn't have been a very nice life. That meant that they did all the work and they didn't get paid at all for it. They probably lived in pretty simple houses. They may have only had a blanket to sit on and sleep on. Probably pretty simple surroundings and not much else in their houses. And remember, this is way, way back, long before lights and electricity and running water in their houses. It would have been a pretty tough life to work for Pharaoh all day long for no money. And then to have to go back and raise their own animals and their own food and cook and clean in their own houses. I bet the Israelites were exhausted. Remember last week, Moses was called by God. Remember, he saw that burning tree, but it wasn't really burning? Well, God had a special message for Moses, and he told Moses to go to Pharaoh and tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. So I'll bet that Moses went right up to Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, let my people go. And I'll bet Pharaoh said, sure, you guys go ahead and go. I'm done with all the work I need you to do. Do you think that's what happened? No. In fact, I want to hear your very evil, deep Pharaoh voices say, no. Can we do that all together? No. And that's exactly what Pharaoh said. Pharaoh kind of laughed at Moses and thought, you've got to be crazy. I'm not going to let my people go. The Bible tells us that God sent a series of plagues to Egypt. Those plagues, they weren't very nice, and they pretty much made the Egyptians' life miserable. He sent things like frogs. Can you imagine? Frogs covering the whole stage. Or gnats, like teeny tiny little flies everywhere. Like you couldn't even open your mouth or they'd get in. He said things like locusts. Those are giant grasshoppers. That would not be very fun, especially for someone who doesn't really like bugs. Ugh, they would crunch everywhere. They ate all their crops. He sent things like big, giant sores on their bodies called boils. They made the Egyptians miserable. And after each one of these, God told Moses to go to Pharaoh and ask Pharaoh to let the Israelites go. And do you know what Pharaoh said every single time? No. That's right. God had enough. He had one final plague, but he gave the Israelites specific instructions, kind of unusual instructions. You see, he told them that they needed to be ready to go at a moment's notice. So they had to pack up all their stuff. Oh, I'll bet it was a lot of stuff. I mean, can you imagine packing up your whole household into one bag? Oh, that'd be pretty heavy. And he told them to prepare a special meal, a meal that involved a lamb. But not just any lamb from the herd, it needed to be a special lamb. A lamb that didn't have any injuries or marks on it, a perfect lamb, the firstborn lamb. God told them to kill that lamb and prepare that lamb for food. And when they had the blood of the lamb, they were supposed to do something very strange. They were to take the blood of the lamb and spread it on the doorposts of their house. That's pretty unusual, don't you think? But God had a purpose for it. They were also supposed to make a bread that was flat. It didn't have any yeast in it. Yeast is the special stuff that makes your bread rise and get big. But God told them, you won't have time for that to rise. So you need to make bread without yeast. It's kind of like a cracker, what you and I might see as a cracker. Very flat and crisp. God told them to be prepared because he had something big coming. So all the Israelites, they packed their bags. They killed the lamb and they spread it over the doorway and they made a delicious feast of the lamb and herbs and flat bread. They shared with their neighbors. They were prepared. That night, God brought the angel of death to the households of Egypt, and their firstborn sons died. But for every house that he saw the blood of the lamb, he passed over. And that's how we get the name Passover. You know, we don't celebrate that, but we do celebrate something else. We celebrate Easter because Jesus is our Passover lamb. His blood is what protects us. And when we have Jesus in our lives, we will go to heaven and be with God when we die. God has special plans for us. And just like he freed the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, God frees us from sin when Jesus died on the cross and rose again. Guys, God is not done with the Israelites. Pharaoh was very upset, and he told them to get out and leave as quickly as possible, and they did. But they have a long journey ahead, and there's kind of a little surprise twist next week. So I'll see you guys next week, and I can't wait to share with you about what God does for the Israelites. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Okay, elementary, I have your scripture verse for today, or the week of January 10th. TNT, your scripture verse is a really familiar one, and you get a break today. It's a pretty easy one. So read along with me. Psalms 119, 105. Your word is a lamp for my feet and a light for my path. I told you it was an easy one. Sparks, yours is also a pretty easy one, and it also comes out of the book of Psalms, chapter 96, verse 10, and it says, sing, this is the sign for sing to the Lord, praise his name. Remember name, we take two fingers and we cross them over. Praise his name. Proclaim, like you're shouting, proclaim his salvation day after day. So you're going to do it twice. Let's do that really quickly. It's a fairly easy one. Psalm 96, let's try that again. Psalms chapter 96, verse 2. Sing to the Lord, praise his name, proclaim his salvation day after day. Great job, guys. I'm sure you will have no problem at all memorizing that one. I'll see you next week. Bye.